The Force binds all things across the galaxy, connecting every living being through an invisible web of energy that flows through space and time. For thousands of years, the Jedi had studied this mystical field, learning its secrets, understanding its will. The Sith had bent it to their desires, corrupting its power for domination. But neither the light nor the dark had ever encountered something that existed completely outside the Force's reach, something that operated on pure, raw energy from a universe where midi-chlorians were nothing more than microscopic nonsense. Goku's finger pressed against his forehead, eyes squeezed shut in concentration. Okay, King Kai's energy signature should be right there. He vanished with the characteristic pop of instant transmission. His body converted to pure energy as it shot across dimensional barriers. Weiss had warned him about practicing the technique near the edge of Universe 7's dimensional boundary. But Goku figured he'd done it 1,000 times before. What could go wrong? Everything, as it turned out. The technique misfired spectacularly. Instead of materializing on King Kai's tiny planet, Goku's energy signature punched through a weak point in reality itself, a place where the membranes between universes grew thin. He tumbled through the void between dimensions, his consciousness flickering as incomprehensible distances stretched past him. Stars that weren't stars, colors that had no names, time that moved in directions it shouldn't. Then, with another pop, he materialized. Unfortunately, he materialized inside a wall. Wah! Goku's body instinctively phased through the durasteel plating, his ki automatically protecting him from the solid matter. He tumbled forward, crashed through another wall, then another, before finally landing face first on a cold metal floor. He lay there for a moment, groaning. Ow. Okay, that wasn't King Kai's place. The air smelled wrong, recycled, metallic, with an underlying scent of ozone and machine oil. He pushed himself up, rubbing his head where a small bump was already forming despite his Saiyan durability. Where the heck am I? The room around him was massive, a cylindrical chamber filled with towering cylindrical structures that hummed with barely contained energy. Thousands of pipes and conduits ran along the walls, all converging toward a central sphere that pulsed with an ominous green glow. Warning lights blinked in sequences that would have told any Imperial technician that something was catastrophically wrong with the hypermatter reactor's containment field integrity. Goku understood none of this. He saw a big glowy ball and a bunch of tubes. Hello? His voice echoed through the cavernous space. Anybody home? I'm kinda lost. He cupped his hands around his mouth. King Kai? Vegeta? Piccolo? Alarms began shrieking. Red lights bathed the reactor chamber in crimson urgency. Somewhere far above, in the Death Star's command center, a junior technician's console exploded with error messages. Containment field stability, 73%. Hull integrity sectors, 4-7 Alpha through 4-7 Delta, compromised. Foreign object detected in primary reactor chamber. Sir, the technician's voice cracked with panic. We have a massive breach in the... I can see the readouts, Lieutenant. Admiral Mahdi's voice was ice. Seal off that sector. Send a security team. Now. Back in the reactor core, Goku was examining one of the holes he'd accidentally made. The edges still glowed red-hot where his body had punched through a foot of reinforced durasteel like it was paper. Oops. That looks expensive. He scratched his head, genuinely apologetic. Maybe I should find someone and explain? He rose into the air, a casual application of Bukujutsu that would have astonished any Force-sensitive in the galaxy. Flight without machines, without the Force, without anything but pure willpower and Kai control. He drifted upward, looking for an exit, when his elbow brushed against a primary coolant conduit. The pipe crumpled. Superheated plasma vented into the chamber with a sound like a screaming giant. Goku yelped and dodged backward, accidentally kicking off another support strut in his panic. The strut, which had been anchoring a cluster of secondary power regulators, bent at a 90-degree angle. Okay, don't touch anything else, Goku told himself, holding his hands up like a kid caught near a broken vase. Just find the door, nice and easy. He spotted an opening 50 meters above, a service entrance used by maintenance droids. Perfect. He flew toward it, carefully navigating between the increasingly unstable reactor components. His energy signature, bright and hot and utterly alien, washed over the hypermatter containment field like radiation. The field flickered. In the command center, every screen went red simultaneously. "Containment failure in 30 seconds, an automated voice announced with mechanical calm. "All personnel evacuate reactor sectors immediately. This is not a drill." Mahdi's face went white. "That's impossible. The reactor is shielded against—" "Sir, we're detecting an energy signature that doesn't match anything in Imperial databases," another technician reported, his hands flying over his console. "It's not showing up on any of our sensors as a recognizable power source. It's almost like—" "Like what, Lieutenant?" "Like it's alive, sir." Goku finally found the service entrance and pulled himself through, relieved to be out of that weird room with all the noisy pipes. He emerged into a massive corridor where stormtroopers were running in formation, their white armor gleaming under harsh fluorescent lights. They didn't notice him at first, too focused on their evacuation protocols. "Man, this place is huge," Goku said cheerfully, landing on the floor with a soft tap of his boots. "Hey, excuse me. Can someone tell me where I—" A stormtrooper finally saw him. The trooper's helmet tilted in confusion at the sight of this orange guy-wearing stranger with impossible hair. "Halt! Identify yourself." "Oh, hi! I'm Goku. I'm kinda lost and I accidentally broke some stuff back there. Is there someone I can apologize to?" "Intruder in Sector 47, the stormtrooper barked into his comlink. "Requesting backup." "Intruder? No, it's just a misunderstanding." Behind them, deep in the reactor core, the hypermatter containment field finally collapsed. The explosion was significant. The Death Star had been designed to destroy planets. It had not been designed to survive having its primary reactor experience catastrophic failure from the inside. The hypermatter explosion tore through 17 decks in a microsecond, vaporizing everything within a 300-meter radius of the core. Secondary explosions chain-reacted through power conduits, overloading systems that had been rated to withstand direct turbolaser hits. Goku felt the floor lurch beneath his feet. Whoa, earthquake? He'd experienced plenty of those during his fights with Vegeta and Frieza. This felt similar, except they were clearly indoors. Wait, can you have earthquakes in a building? The stormtroopers weren't pondering geological philosophy. They were running. One of them grabbed Goku's arm in a desperate attempt to drag him toward the escape pods. "Move, you idiot! The whole station's going to—" The trooper's hand couldn't budge Goku an inch. It was like trying to drag a mountain. The stormtrooper stared at his own hand in confusion, then at Goku, then at his hand again. "Oh, were you trying to pull me?" Goku asked helpfully. "Sorry, I was standing pretty firm there. Where are we going?" "The escape pods!" the stormtrooper screamed, his voice cracking with panic through the helmet's vocoder. He released Goku and sprinted after his squadmates, who were already diving into a launch bay. Goku watched them go, scratching his head. They seemed pretty upset about something. Around him, the corridor was rapidly emptying as Imperial personnel abandoned their posts. Warning sirens wailed in a discordant symphony of impending doom. Blast doors were slamming shut automatically, sealing off compromised sections. Though several failed to close properly, their mechanisms fried by electrical surges. Then, Goku felt it. Not through Kai sense. That wasn't working right here, wherever here was. No, this was simpler. Heat. Massive, building heat from somewhere below. The kind of heat that preceded really big explosions. "Oh man," Goku said, his eyes widening. "I think I broke it really bad." The Death Star's superstructure groaned like a dying beast. Somewhere in the command center, Grand Moff Tarkin was receiving reports that contradicted everything he understood about Imperial engineering. The station wasn't just damaged, it was experiencing a cascade failure that should have been mathematically impossible. Redundant systems were failing. Backup power conduits were overloading. The emergency containment protocols designed by Galen Erso himself were triggering in sequences that made no sense. "Sir, we need to evacuate," an officer urged, his composure cracking. "The projections show total structural failure in less than—" I will not abandon this station because of one malfunction, Tarkin said coldly. Deploy repair crews. Activate the secondary reactor. We will not. The floor tilted 15 degrees. Even Tarkin grabbed his console for support. Around him, officers were tumbling, data pads clattering, the pristine order of the Empire's ultimate weapon dissolving into chaos. Through the massive viewports, TIE fighters were launching in swarms, their pilots abandoning all semblance of formation in their desperation to escape. Back in the corridor, Goku made a decision. Okay, I better get out of here before this whole thing blows up. He'd seen enough structures collapse during his battles to recognize the signs. He rose into the air again, scanning for the nearest exit. That's when he heard them, muffled voices, panicked and afraid, coming from behind a blast door that had sealed automatically. His enhanced hearing picked out the words, "Trapped. Door won't open. Oxygen running low." Goku's face turned serious. People were in trouble. Whatever weird place this was, whatever he'd accidentally broken, people were about to die if he didn't help. That was something Goku understood perfectly. He flew to the blast door. A massive slab of durasteel 3 feet thick, designed to contain reactor breaches and resist turbo laser fire. Warning symbols covered its surface in a language Goku couldn't read. He pressed his ear against it. "Hello? Anyone in there?" "Yes!" Multiple voices screamed in unison. "The door's locked down. The emergency release isn't working." "Okay, hang on. I'll get you out." Goku cracked his knuckles, a habit from decades of martial arts. He planted his feet in a wide stance, drew his right fist back, and channeled his Kai. Not a lot. He didn't want to accidentally vaporize whoever was on the other side, just enough to... His fist hit the door with a sound like a thunderclap. The durasteel crumpled inward, the entire door ripping free from its frame and sailing down the corridor like a thrown playing card. It embedded itself in the far wall, leaving a door-shaped impression in solid metal. 6 Imperial technicians stood in the room beyond, staring at Goku with expressions of absolute disbelief. They were young, mostly, junior engineers who'd drawn the short straw for reactor maintenance duty. Their uniforms were singed, faces smudged with soot, but they were alive. "There you go," Goku said cheerfully. "You guys should probably run now. This place is gonna blow." One of the technicians, a woman with lieutenant's insignia, found her voice. What are you?" "Huh? I'm Goku. I'm a Saiyan. Well, technically I'm from Earth, but..." The floor shook violently, cutting off his explanation. "Explanations later. Running now." The technicians didn't need to be told twice. They bolted past Goku, heading for the escape pod bays. Goku started to follow, then paused. His instincts, honed through countless battles, were screaming that more people were trapped. He could hear them, faintly. Throughout the massive structure, dozens of voices, maybe hundreds. "Aw man," Goku sighed. "I can't just leave them." He shot off down the corridor, following the sounds of distress. His speed was casual by his standards, maybe Mach 5, but it left sonic booms in his wake that shattered viewport glass and blew stormtroopers off their feet. He found another group trapped behind a collapsed bulkhead. He punched through it, found 3 stormtroopers pinned under debris. He lifted the entire section of ceiling one-handed and tossed it aside, found a pilot whose TIE fighter had crashed in a hangar. He ripped the cockpit hatch off its hinges and pulled the man free. In the command center, an officer stared at his tactical display in confusion. "Sir, something is moving through the station at impossible speeds. It's opening sealed sections, freeing trapped personnel." Tarkin's eyes narrowed. "Show me." The holographic display flickered to life, showing a grainy security feed. A figure in orange clothing, too fast for the cameras to properly track, tore through a blast door like tissue paper, pulled out 3 personnel, then vanished in a blur of motion. "What?" Tarkin said slowly. "Is that?" Nobody had an answer. The Rebel Alliance had been monitoring the Death Star's approach to Yavin 4 with growing dread. Their stolen plans showed the station's weakness, a thermal exhaust port that led directly to the reactor. But their attack run wouldn't launch for another 6 hours. They needed time to brief the pilots, time to plan the approach, time to say goodbye to people they might never see again. Then every sensor in the Yavin 4 base went haywire simultaneously. "General Dodonna!" A controller's voice cracked with urgency. "We're picking up massive energy readings from the Death Star. Multiple explosions, structural failures. Sir, it's tearing itself apart." In the command center, rebel leadership crowded around the holographic display. The Death Star, that spherical monument to Imperial terror, was venting atmosphere from dozens of breaches. Escape pods were launching in swarms like fleeing insects. TIE fighters scattered in every direction, abandoning all formation discipline. Secondary explosions rippled across the station's surface, beautiful and terrible in the cold void of space. Princess Leia Organa stared at the display, her mind racing through possibilities. Is this a trick? Some kind of Imperial strategy? "No, Your Highness," a Bothan intelligence officer reported, his fur bristling with agitation. "Our sources inside the Imperial fleet are just as confused. Whatever's happening, it wasn't planned." "Then what?" Dodonna started. The Death Star's northern hemisphere exploded. Not the planet-destroying superlaser explosion they'd feared. This was different, chaotic, a chain reaction of internal systems overloading. The blast tore a chunk out of the station the size of a small moon, sending debris spinning into space. In the stunned silence, someone whispered, "Did we just win?" Inside the dying station, Goku had saved his 73rd person, a stormtrooper who'd been about to be crushed by a falling support beam, when he finally noticed the really big problem. Through a shattered viewport, he could see stars. Lots of stars. Which meant, "Wait, we're in space?" Goku pressed his face against the transparent steel, eyes wide with delight. "Whoa, that's so cool! I've been to space before, but this is a whole different space." His breath fogged the glass as he admired the view. Then he noticed something else. The structure around him was literally coming apart. Entire sections were breaking free and drifting away into the void. "Okay, so, space station." "Got it." Goku tapped his chin thoughtfully. "How do I get everyone off a space station?" He'd helped evacuate cities before during his fights, but this was different. You couldn't just run away from a space station. You needed ships, pods, something. His thoughts were interrupted by blaster fire. 3 stormtroopers had spotted him and, operating on training and panic, opened fire. Red bolts streaked toward Goku's center mass. He caught them. Not deflected, caught. His hands moved in blurs, plucking the energy bolts out of the air like fireflies, then letting them dissipate against his palms. "Hey, cut that out! I'm trying to help!" The stormtroopers stared at their weapons, then at each other, then at Goku. As one, they dropped their blasters and sprinted for the escape pods. "Rude," Goku muttered, but it gave him an idea. Those pod things. That's what everyone was running toward. If he could just get everyone to those pods faster. He became an orange and blue blur throughout the Death Star's corridors. His speed increased, not to his maximum, but enough that he was everywhere at once. He found a group of officers trapped in a turbolift. He tore the doors open and carried them all, 6 at a time, tucked under his arms like parcels, to the nearest escape pod bay. He found an entire deck where the escape pods had failed to launch due to electrical failures. He ripped out the manual release mechanisms and triggered them by hand, sending dozens of pods shooting into space. In orbit around Yavin IV, the rebel fleet watched with growing confusion as escape pod after escape pod launched from the Death Star. Their sensors tracked hundreds of them, far more than should have been possible given the catastrophic damage. "Someone's evacuating that station with remarkable efficiency," Admiral Radis observed, his Mon Calamari features creasing with thought. "The Imperials are many things, but they're not usually this organized during disasters." "Sir, we're picking up something else." The sensor officer adjusted his console, frowning at the readings. "There's an energy signature moving through the station. It doesn't match anything in our databases. It's not a reactor, not an engine, not even a weapon. It's almost like what, Lieutenant?" "Like a life form, sir. But the power readings would make it stronger than a capital ship's main reactor." On the Death Star's command deck, Grand Moff Tarkin finally made the decision that every Imperial officer had been silently begging him to make. Evacuate the station. All personnel to escape pods. Immediately. The admission of defeat tasted like ashes, but even Tarkin's legendary arrogance couldn't deny reality. His ultimate weapon was dying, and he would not die with it. As he strode toward his private shuttle, flanked by his personal guard, he activated his secure comlink. "Lord Vader," he said crisply. "The Death Star is lost. Unknown sabotage. I'm transmitting all available data." In the depths of space, aboard his personal superstar destroyer, Darth Vader stood in his meditation chamber. He'd felt the disturbance minutes ago, a ripple in the Force, unlike anything in his experience. Not dark, not light. Something else entirely. Something that didn't belong in this galaxy. "I sense it, Admiral." Vader's mechanical breathing filled the comm channel. "Something has entered our galaxy. Something powerful." He paused, and when he spoke again, there was something almost like anticipation in his voice. "Prepare my shuttle. I will investigate personally." Back on the Death Star, Goku had finally reached what looked like the main control room. It was abandoned now, everyone having fled, but the holographic displays still showed the station's catastrophic status. Goku couldn't read the language, but he understood the flashing red symbols meant bad. "Okay, so I definitely broke this place really, really bad," he said to himself. "Chi-Chi is gonna be so mad when I tell her." He scratched his head sheepishly. "If I can even get home to tell her." A sound made him turn. One last person remained on the command deck, a junior officer who'd been too terrified to move, frozen behind his console. The young man stared at Goku with wide, frightened eyes. "Hey! It's okay!" Goku approached with his hands raised in a peaceful gesture. "I'm not gonna hurt you, but you really gotta get off this thing. It's gonna explode pretty soon." You're the one," the officer stammered. "The intruder. You destroyed the Death Star." "Accidentally," Goku protested. "I didn't mean to. I just landed in the wrong place and touched some stuff and..." The floor tilted sharply. "Okay, explanations later. Come on." He grabbed the officer by the arm, gently, always carefully controlling his strength around normal people, and launched them both toward the nearest hangar bay. They shot through the corridors at speeds that would have liquefied a normal human body from the G-forces, but Goku's ki aura protected the officer, creating a bubble of controlled energy that kept him alive as they covered kilometers in seconds. Darth Vader's shuttle descended toward the dying Death Star like a predatory bird, its black hull reflecting the scattered fires that burned in the station's breached atmosphere pockets. Imperial Star Destroyers maintained a cautious distance, their crews watching the Empire's greatest achievement tear itself apart with numb disbelief. Escape pods littered the space around Yavin 4 like scattered seeds, each one carrying personnel who'd witnessed something impossible. Inside his meditation chamber aboard the shuttle, Vader extended his senses through the Force. What he felt made him pause. A void. A blank spot in the Force's tapestry where something powerful should be. It was like looking at a shadow cast by something invisible. A negative space that suggested immense energy operating on principles completely foreign to the Force. "Fascinating," Vader murmured, his vocabulary turning the word mechanical. The last time he'd felt something this unusual had been when he'd first encountered ancient Sith artifacts, relics that predated the rule of two. But this was different. Those had been dark, corrupted, twisted things. This felt pure. Not light side pure, but simple. Uncomplicated, like staring at raw power with no philosophy attached. His shuttle docked with one of the Death Star's few remaining functional hangars. Vader strode down the ramp, his cape billowing in the artificial gravity's wake. Stormtroopers who'd been unable to reach the escape pods snapped to attention despite their terror. "Lord Vader!" An officer approached, his uniform disheveled, face streaked with soot. The intruder was last seen heading toward Hangar Bay 7 with, "I know where it is, Captain." Vader walked past him, following the trail of destruction. It wasn't hard to track. The intruder had torn through blast doors, ripped apart corridors, and left boot-shaped dents in durasteel flooring that suggested absurd levels of physical strength. But what interested Vader more was what he didn't sense: malice. The damage pattern suggested someone moving with desperate urgency, trying to save people, not kill them. How curious. In Hangar Bay 7, Goku was having a crisis. He'd successfully gotten the scared officer to an escape pod and launched it. He'd even managed to find a few more stragglers, maintenance droids that couldn't evacuate themselves, and safely toss them out through a hangar bay door where the rebel fleet could hopefully pick them up. But now he faced a new problem. He couldn't find anyone else to save, and the whole station was about to explode with him still on it. "Okay, think, Goku, think!" He paced back and forth in the hangar, his boots clanging on the deck. When something's about to explode, you usually just punch it until it stops exploding. But that's what made this thing start exploding in the first place. He groaned, running his hands through his distinctive hair. Why is this so complicated? Perhaps, a deep mechanical voice said from the hangar entrance. Because you are not in your own universe anymore. Goku spun around. A tall figure stood in the doorway, wreathed in shadow, and wearing the most intimidating armor Goku had ever seen. Black helmet, black cape, breathing apparatus that sounded like a rhythmic machine. Red lightsaber ignited in one hand, casting crimson light across the hangar. Whoa! Goku's face lit up with excitement, all thoughts of the exploding station temporarily forgotten. That is the coolest sword I've ever seen. Is it made of energy? How does it not burn your hand off? Can I try it? Vader tilted his head slightly, his vocabulary crackling with what might have been confusion. In his decades of service to the Empire, in all his years as a Sith Lord, no one had ever responded to his presence with childlike enthusiasm. Fear, yes. Hatred, certainly. Respect, occasionally. But this was new. You are the one who destroyed my Emperor's battle station, Vader stated, his lightsaber humming with barely contained power. Thousands have died because of your actions. Goku's excitement dimmed immediately. Oh. Yeah. About that. He rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. It was an accident. I was trying to go somewhere else and I ended up here and I touched some stuff and it all just kind of exploded. I tried to save as many people as I could. He brightened slightly. Actually, I saved a lot of people. So maybe it's not all bad. Vader extended his senses, trying to read this strange being through the Force. Nothing. It was like trying to sense a hole in reality. He could perceive the space Goku occupied, but the being himself was utterly absent from the Force's tapestry. Yet the raw power radiating from him was undeniable. Vader's suit's sensors screamed warnings about energy readings that shouldn't be possible from a biological organism. You claim ignorance, Vader said slowly. Yet you possess power that rivals capital ships. You move with speed that defies physics. You survived in my Emperor's reactor core. What are you? I'm Goku. I already said that. Goku cocked his head, studying Vader with equal curiosity. And you're really strong, I can tell. Not like the other people I've met here. You're different. Special somehow. His eyes widened with sudden realization. Hey, maybe you can help me. I'm trying to get home, but I don't know where I am or how I got here. Do you know anything about people accidentally teleporting to the wrong universe? Vader was silent for a long moment. The station groaned around them, structural supports failing one by one. They had perhaps 5 minutes before the reactor's remaining power cells went critical. Yet Vader found himself intrigued. This being showed no fear of him, no desire to fight unless provoked, and claimed to have destroyed the Death Star through sheer incompetence rather than malice. Either he was lying, and Vader's instincts, honed through decades of war, suggested he wasn't, or the galaxy had just become infinitely more complicated. You are not from this galaxy, Vader said, making it a statement rather than a question. You exist outside the Force's influence. Impossible, yet here you stand. Force, like pushing and pulling stuff. Goku made a shoving gesture with his hands. Is that like telekinesis? My friend Chaozu can do that. It's pretty handy. You compare the Force to a parlor trick. Vader's grip tightened on his lightsaber, though he made no move to attack. You know nothing of what you've disrupted. The Emperor will want to meet you. He will have questions. Emperor? Like a king? Goku's expression turned serious. Look, I don't want any trouble. I just want to find my friends and go home. If your Emperor can help with that, great. If not, well... He shrugged. I'll figure something out. I usually do. The station lurched violently. Somewhere deep in its core, the last containment fields failed. A low, ominous rumble began building. The sound of a chain reaction that would vaporize what remained of the Death Star in less than 2 minutes. This station is finished, Vader observed calmly. Come, my shuttle will... Oh, we don't need a shuttle. Goku stepped forward and, before Vader could react, placed 2 fingers on the Sith Lord's armored chest. I can get us out of here way faster. Just gotta find an energy signature to lock onto. His eyes closed in concentration, sensing the life forces scattered across the nearby space. The rebel fleet had strong energy signatures, lots of people, all clustered together. That would work. What are you... Vader began. Hang on, Goku said cheerfully. They vanished with a pop. Behind them, the Death Star achieved total structural failure. The reactor detonated with the force of a small supernova, erasing the station from existence. Debris expanded outward in a perfect sphere of vaporized metal and shattered dreams. The Empire's ultimate weapon, years of construction, billions of credits. The culmination of terrifying ambition, reduced to glowing particles. And somewhere in the rebel fleet, 2 very confused beings materialized on the bridge of a Mon Calamari cruiser, surrounded by shocked rebel personnel who had no idea how to process what they were seeing. A Sith Lord and an orange-clad stranger, both appearing from thin air. Goku looked around at the rebels, who were pointing blasters at them with shaking hands. He waved. Hi, sorry about the dramatic entrance. That's kind of my thing. The bridge of the Mon Calamari cruiser, Liberty erupted into chaos. Admiral Radiss's bulbous eyes widened to their anatomical limit as he processed the impossible scene before him. Darth Vader, the Emperor's fist, the scourge of the rebellion, the monster who'd personally killed dozens of their best operatives, standing on his bridge next to what appeared to be a peasant farmer in orange pajamas. Open fire! Someone screamed. 20 blasters discharged simultaneously. Red bolts converged on Vader's position from every angle. Point-blank range, impossible to dodge, a firing solution that should have ended the Sith Lord's reign of terror. Vader raised his hand casually. The force bent reality around him, freezing the bolts in midair. They hung there like angry red fireflies, suspended in invisible amber, crackling with frustrated energy. With a gesture, he sent them harmlessly into the ceiling where they scorched the overhead plating. Whoa! Goku stared at the display with open admiration. That's so cool! You just stopped them without even touching them. He turned to the nearest rebel, a Twi'lek woman who was fumbling to reload her blaster with trembling hands. Did you see that? He mimicked Vader's hand gesture. And they all just stopped. How does that work? So stay back, the Twi'lek stammered, finally getting her weapon charged. She aimed it at Goku's face from 3 feet away. Both of you, one move and I'll... Please don't shoot, Goku said earnestly. I know this looks bad, but I'm not with him. I just used him as an anchor point for my instant transmission, because I couldn't sense any other life energies nearby, and the station was exploding, and... He noticed she was still pointing the blaster at him. Oh, is that thing dangerous? Sorry, I should probably... He plucked the blaster from her hand, faster than anyone's eyes could track. The Twi'lek found herself holding empty air, staring at her own weapon now in Goku's hand. He examined it curiously, turning it over like a child with a new toy. Huh. This is like a key blast gun. Does it hurt? Without waiting for an answer, he pointed it at his own palm and pulled the trigger. No! Admiral Radiss shouted, but too late. The bolt hit Goku's hand and dissipated against his skin like water on hot stone. Goku peered at his palm, where a small scorch mark was already fading. Oh. It tingles a little. He handed the blaster back to the Twi'lek. That's pretty neat, but it's not gonna work on me. Sorry. Vader watched this exchange with growing fascination. The being, Goku, had just tanked a blaster shot at point-blank range without flinching. No force shield, no energy absorption technique, just raw physical durability. And he'd done it with the casual indifference of someone testing bathwater temperature. "Lord Vader," Raditz said, his voice carefully controlled despite his racing heart. "I don't know how you've boarded my ship, but—" "I did not board your ship, Admiral." Vader's vocabulary crackled. "This person transported us both here through means I do not yet understand." He turned to Goku. "You will explain how you accomplished this." "Oh, that," Goku grinned. "That's instant transmission. You just sense an energy signature, like someone's life force, and then you kinda teleport to it. Well, technically you're converting your body to energy and moving it really fast, but it feels like teleporting. King Kai taught me on his planet, which is tiny by the way. And fascinating," Vader interrupted. "You can sense life across vast distances, through the vacuum of space." "Well, yeah, can't everyone?" The bridge crew exchanged glances that suggested no. Everyone absolutely could not do that. Admiral Raditz made a decision. He was a military commander who'd survived the Clone Wars by adapting quickly to changing circumstances. This circumstance was unprecedented, but the facts were clear. The Death Star was destroyed. They had somehow acquired both Darth Vader and the being responsible for that destruction. And his crew was seconds away from a firefight they couldn't win. "Stand down," he ordered. His crew looked at him like he'd grown a second head. "I said stand down. Lower your weapons." "Admiral, that's Darth Vader." "I'm aware of who he is, Lieutenant." Raditz's voice carried the weight of command. "I'm also aware that if Lord Vader wanted us dead, we would already be dead. As for our other guest..." He studied Goku carefully. "You claim you destroyed the Death Star accidentally?" "Super accidentally," Goku confirmed. "I was trying to go somewhere else entirely. I ended up inside some reactor thing, broke some pipes, touched some walls, and then everything started exploding. I saved a bunch of people, though." He said this last part with obvious pride. "You saved Imperial personnel," Vader observed. "Why?" Goku looked at him like he'd asked why water was wet. "Because they were gonna die? I couldn't just leave them there. That would be wrong." There was something in his tone, a simple, unshakable certainty, that made even Vader pause. This being held no allegiance to Empire or Rebellion. He'd saved lives because that's what he did, the same way a star shines or a river flows. "We detected hundreds of escape pods launching," Raditz said slowly, piecing together the reports. "Our intelligence suggested the evacuation was impossibly efficient." "That was you?" "Mostly, yeah. I moved people to the pod things and punched open doors that were stuck and carried folks who couldn't run fast enough and..." Goku's stomach suddenly growled, loudly. The sound echoed across the bridge like a small explosion. He clutched his abdomen with an embarrassed laugh. "Oh man, I haven't eaten in hours. Do you guys have food here? I'm starving." The entire bridge stared at him. This being, who'd just destroyed the Death Star, teleported through space with Darth Vader and tanked a blaster shot without flinching, was asking for lunch. Princess Leia Organa chose that moment to arrive on the bridge, flanked by 2 guards. She'd been in a tactical meeting when news of the Death Star's destruction arrived, followed immediately by reports that Vader had somehow appeared on their flagship. She strode onto the bridge with the bearing of royalty and the steel of a soldier, ready to face whatever nightmare awaited. She stopped dead at the sight before her. Vader stood near the viewports, his crimson blade deactivated but still in hand, making no aggressive moves. Beside him, a man in orange was asking about food while the entire bridge crew looked like they'd collectively lost their minds. "Someone," Leia said with the careful precision of someone trying very hard to stay calm. "Explain what's happening, now." Goku's eyes lit up when he saw her. "Oh, hi. Are you in charge? I'm really sorry about breaking your enemy's giant space station. It was an accident. Also, I'm lost, and I can't find my friends and I'm really hungry. Can you help?" Leia looked at Vader. Vader's helmet turned toward Goku. Goku smiled hopefully. "This," Leia said to no one in particular, "is going to require a lot of CAF." The conference room aboard the Liberty had been designed for strategic planning, not diplomatic incidents involving Sith Lords and interdimensional warriors. Yet here they were. Admiral Raddus, Princess Leia, General Dodonna, Darth Vader, and Goku, who was currently on his third helping from the officer's mess, while everyone else tried to process the situation. "This is amazing," Goku said around a mouthful of some kind of meat. "What is this? It's like Nerf steak, but spicier." "Bantha," Leia said distantly, watching him pile more food onto his plate. "That's your third serving." "Yeah, I got a big appetite. Saiyan metabolism, you know?" He noticed their confused expressions. "Right, you don't know. Saiyans are a warrior race from planet Vegeta. Well, they were. Planet got destroyed. Long story. Anyway, we need a lot of food to maintain our power levels." He took another enormous bite. Vader stood motionless near the viewport, his respirator providing the room's only sound besides Goku's enthusiastic eating. His mind raced with calculations. The Emperor would want this being captured, studied, potentially turned into a weapon. But Vader's instincts, buried beneath decades of dark side conditioning but not entirely dead, whispered that attempting to capture Goku would be unwise. "Lord Vader," Leia said, her voice carefully neutral, "you've made no attempt to escape. You haven't attacked us. You haven't even threatened us. Why?" "Because, Princess." Vader's vocabulator turned his words mechanical and cold. "I am as curious about our guest as you are. And because..." He gestured toward Goku. "I suspect he would not allow me to harm anyone in this room." Goku looked up from his food, nodding cheerfully. "Yeah, probably not. No offense. You seem nice enough, but I can tell you've hurt a lot of people. I can sense it somehow." He tilted his head, studying Vader with those impossibly innocent eyes. "There's something sad about you, too. Something broken. Did something really bad happen to you?" The room went silent. Even Vader's respirator seemed to pause. No one spoke to Darth Vader that way. No one looked past the armor and the fear and saw something human underneath. "You know nothing of me," Vader said, but his voice lacked its usual menace. "Maybe not," Goku agreed, returning to his meal. "But I've met a lot of bad guys who used to be good guys. Sometimes they're just angry or hurt, and they don't know how to deal with it. My friend Vegeta was like that. He tried to destroy Earth. Now he's married with kids and helps save the universe pretty regularly." "This Vegeta was redeemed?" Vader's voice carried a strange note. "Sure. Took a while, and he's still kind of a jerk sometimes, but yeah, people can change if they want to." Goku shrugged, like this was the most obvious thing in the world. Admiral Raddus cleared his throat, desperate to regain control of this increasingly surreal conversation. "Master Goku, just Goku's fine. Goku then. You claim you arrived here accidentally. Can you return to your own universe?" Goku's cheerful expression dimmed. "That's the problem. I don't know. I've never messed up instant transmission that badly before. Usually I can sense King Kai or Whis or Beerus and just lock onto them, but..." He closed his eyes, concentrating. "I can't feel anyone from home. It's like they don't exist anymore. Or I don't exist there. Or we're too far apart. I don't really get it." "The Force permeates our galaxy," Vader said thoughtfully. "Perhaps it interferes with your... Kai sensing?" "Maybe." Goku opened his eyes. "You guys keep talking about this Force thing. Is it like Kai? Life energy?" "It is everything," Vader said. "It surrounds us, penetrates us, binds the galaxy together. The Jedi believe it has a will. The Sith know it can be commanded." "Huh. Sounds complicated." Goku finished his fourth plate. "Back home, everyone has ki. You just train to use it better. Martial arts, meditation, fighting strong opponents. That's how you get stronger." General Dodonna, who'd been silent until now, leaned forward. "You've destroyed the Empire's ultimate weapon. Accidentally or not, you've given the rebellion an incredible advantage. Would you consider..." "Oh no," Goku said quickly, holding up his hands. "I don't do politics. I tried that once on Earth and it was super boring. I just fight bad guys and protect my friends and train to get stronger. The Empire is bad guys, Leia pointed out. They've destroyed planets, enslaved entire species, caused suffering across the galaxy. Yeah, and this guy, Goku pointed at Vader, said he works for an emperor who sounds pretty evil. But I also saved a bunch of Imperial people from the exploding station. Were they all bad guys? The scared officer I carried out seemed nice. Confused, but nice. The rebels had no good answer for that. Moral philosophy from an interdimensional warrior, Vader observed. The Emperor would find this conversation intolerable. Your Emperor sounds like a jerk, Goku said bluntly. He turned to Leia. Look, I want to help people. That's kind of my thing. But I'm not joining your war. I don't understand it. I don't know who's really in the right, and honestly, I just want to find a way home to my wife and kids. Wife? Leia blinked. You have a family? Yeah, Chi-Chi. That's my wife. And 2 boys, Gohan and Goten. Gohan's a scholar now, super smart. Goten's still training. They're probably worried sick. His expression turned guilty. I was supposed to be home for dinner. There was something profoundly humanizing about watching this impossibly powerful being worry about missing family dinner. It made Leia think of her own family, destroyed, scattered, torn apart by the Empire's cruelty. What if, she said carefully, we helped you find a way home? In exchange, you help us with certain situations where your unique abilities might be useful. Like what? Like not getting killed by the Empire's inevitable retaliation for destroying their battle station, Raditz interjected. They will hunt us with everything they have. More Star Destroyers than you can count. Thousands of TIE fighters. Legions of stormtroopers. Goku perked up. Will there be strong fighters? I got a good sense of him. He nodded toward Vader. But are there others like him? Because honestly, I haven't had a good fight since Ultra Instinct training with Whis, and I'm getting kinda itchy. Vader's helmet tilted slightly. You seek combat? Well, yeah. That's the best part of being strong. Testing yourself against other strong people, pushing past your limits, getting better. Goku's eyes shone with enthusiasm. Where I come from, we have tournaments and challenges, and these awesome fights where planets explode and time stops and... He caught their expressions. Maybe that sounds weird here? Incredibly weird, Leia confirmed. The dark side is fueled by passion, Vader said quietly. But your passion seems different, uncorrupted. You seek strength not to dominate, but to test yourself. The Jedi would call this dangerous. The Sith would call it weak. You are neither. I'm just Goku. He stood, stretching. Okay, here's the deal. I'll help you guys if you're in real trouble, and people are gonna die. I'm not gonna sit around while folks get hurt if I can stop it. But I'm not your soldier. I don't take orders. And if I find a way home, I'm gone immediately. Deal? Leia extended her hand. Deal. They shook. Leia tried not to wince at his grip strength. He was clearly holding back, but it still felt like shaking hands with a hydraulic press. Now then, Vader's voice cut through the moment. We have a problem. The Emperor knows of your existence, Goku. I transmitted data before the Death Star's destruction. He will send everything at his disposal to capture or kill you. Let him try, Goku said with a grin that was equal parts friendly and dangerous. I'm always up for a challenge. Jabba the Hutt's palace on Tatooine was a monument to excess, depravity, and the kind of power that thrived in the Outer Rim's lawless shadows. The crime lord himself reclined on his dais, his massive bulk shifting as he consumed another squealing Tatooine patty frog. Around him, his court of sycophants, bounty hunters, and entertainers went about their business with the practiced indifference of people who'd learned not to attract unwanted attention. Then the doors exploded inward, not opened. Not blown off their hinges by explosives, simply ceased to exist as solid matter. The massive Durasteel slabs, which had survived sieges, betrayals, and the occasional drunk Gamorrean rampage, disintegrated into powder under an impact that registered on seismic sensors 3 levels down. Goku walked through the dust cloud, waving it away from his face. Whoops! Sorry about the door. I knocked but nobody answered. He'd been separated from the rebels for 3 days now. an unfortunate incident involving a hyperspace jump he'd attempted to follow by pure speed, which had worked but left him completely lost in an unfamiliar star system. After wandering through what Vader had called the Outer Rim, he'd stumbled upon Tatooine purely by accident, drawn by the promise of what locals called the best food in the sector. That promise had led him here, to Jabba's palace, where someone had mentioned legendary feasts. Jabba's court froze. Every bounty hunter's hand moved toward their weapon. The band stopped mid-note. Even Salacious Crumb's cackling died in his throat. Into this silence, Jabba spoke in Huttese, his voice rumbling like distant thunder. "Who dares destroy my door?" Bib Fortuna, Jabba's majordomo, translated nervously. "The mighty Jabba asks who you are and why you vandalized his property." "Oh, hi!" Goku waved cheerfully. "I'm Goku. I'm looking for food, and someone in Mos Eisley said you throw great parties. Is there a buffet? I haven't eaten in like 6 hours, and I'm starving." Jabba's eyes narrowed to slits. A human, seemingly unarmed, impossibly naive, had just destroyed his reinforced entrance and was asking about snacks. This was either the boldest confidence play Jabba had ever witnessed, or the man was genuinely insane. "The mighty Jabba does not feed beggars," Bib translated. "However, he is entertained by your audacity. Perhaps you would like to fight his champion? If you survive, you may eat as much as you wish." Goku's face lit up. "A fight? With a strong guy? And then free food? That's perfect." He cracked his knuckles. "Bring him out!" A gate opened in the floor. From the darkness below came a roar that shook the palace's foundation. A rancor emerged, 15 feet of muscle, teeth, and barely controlled hunger. The creature had killed 37 challengers in the past year. Jabba had paid a fortune for it. It was his pride, his terror weapon, his... Goku pointed at it. "Is that a dinosaur?" The rancor charged. Its clawed hand swept toward Goku with enough force to pulverize stone. Goku didn't dodge. He caught the claw. The impact created a shockwave that knocked over 3 of Jabba's guards and shattered several glasses. "Wow, you're pretty strong," Goku said admiringly. The rancor tried to pull free. It couldn't. It was like its hand had been clamped in a vice. "But not quite strong enough for a real fight. Sorry, buddy." He released the claw and patted the rancor's hand. "Good try, though." The rancor, operating on predatory instincts honed through countless kills, roared and lunged with its mouth open wide. Goku sighed, raised one finger and tapped the creature on its snout. The rancor's eyes rolled back. It collapsed like a puppet with cut strings, unconscious before it hit the ground. The impact shook the entire room. Silence. Then Jabba began to laugh. It started as a rumble in his belly and grew into booming guffaws that made his entire mass jiggle. This human, this impossibly powerful human, had defeated his rancor with a finger flick and acted like it was no big deal. "Ho ho ho!" Jabba's laughter was genuine, a rarity in itself. He spoke in Huttese, gesturing expansively. "The mighty Jabba says you have earned your meal," Bib translated, relief evident in his voice. "He also wishes to discuss employment opportunities." 3 hours later, Goku sat at a table overflowing with food from across the galaxy. Roasted tip yip, Christophsis crystal cakes, aged Alderanian wine, one of the last bottles in existence, bantha ribs, Yobana honey cakes, and dishes Goku couldn't identify but ate anyway. Jabba watched with fascination as his guest consumed enough food to feed 20 people. "So," Bib translated for Jabba, "the mighty Jabba asks, what brings someone of your power to Tatooine?" "I'm lost," Goku said between bites. "I'm from another universe and I can't find my way home. Also, there's this whole war thing happening here between an empire and some rebels. And I accidentally destroyed the empire's big space station, and now everyone wants to either hire me or kill me." He shrugged. "It's been a weird week." Jabba's court had gone quiet, listening. The crime lord himself leaned forward slightly, his massive bulk shifting. "The Death Star," Bib said slowly. "You're the one who destroyed it?" "Yeah, but it was an accident. I already explained this to the other people." Goku took another huge bite. "Why does everyone keep bringing it up?" Jabba spoke at length, his voice taking on a thoughtful tone. Bib translated, "The mighty Jabba says the Empire has placed a bounty on your head. 10 million credits for your capture, alive. Another 5 million for information leading to your location." Credits? Is that like Zini? Goku looked confused. Why would they pay money for me? Because, a new voice said from the shadows, you're the most dangerous being in the galaxy right now. A figure stepped into the light, humanoid, wearing Mandalorian armor that had seen better days, a blaster rifle slung over one shoulder. Boba Fett removed his helmet, revealing a scarred face and calculating eyes. "Boba Fett," Jabba rumbled approvingly. "The bounty hunter," Bib added unnecessarily. Goku waved at him. "Hi, you want some food? There's plenty." Fett studied Goku with the intensity of a professional who'd learned to read threats. What he saw disturbed him. This man sat casually in a crime lord's palace, surrounded by killers and cutthroats, eating without a care. No weapons visible, no armor, just orange clothing and an expression of genuine friendliness. Either he was the greatest actor in the galaxy, or he genuinely didn't perceive any of them as threats. "I've been tracking you since Ord Mantell," Fett said. "You left a trail of destruction and confusion across 3 systems. Stormtroopers terrified of the Orange Demon, rebel sympathizers calling you the Destroyer Angel. Cantina owners thrilled because you paid your tabs and tipped well." "I always pay for my food," Goku said proudly. "Chi-Chi taught me that." "Who are you really?" Fett asked. "I'm Goku, from Earth. I'm a martial artist and I protect my planet from bad guys." He gestured with a rib bone. "Pretty simple, actually." "Nothing about you is simple," Fett countered. He turned to Jabba, speaking in flawless Huttese. "I could try to collect the bounty, but I suspect I'd die in the attempt." Jabba's laugh rumbled again. He spoke, and Bib translated with barely concealed amusement. "The mighty Jabba agrees. Instead, he offers Goku a deal. Remain as his guest. Eat as much as you wish. In exchange, occasionally handle problems that arise in his organization." "Problems?" Goku tilted his head. "Rival crime lords," Fett clarified. "Imperial officers who demand too much tribute. Pirates who don't understand Jabba's territory. You'd be hired muscle, essentially." Goku considered this, then shook his head. "Nah, I appreciate the food, but I don't work for criminals. No offense." Jabba wasn't offended. If anything, he seemed more pleased. A being of principle, rare in his world. "Then perhaps," Bib translated, "an alliance instead of employment? You need information to find your way home. The mighty Jabba has contacts across the galaxy. Perhaps even contacts who know of dimensional anomalies." Now Goku was interested. "Really? You know people who could help?" "Jabba knows everyone," Fett said. "And what he doesn't know, his network can discover. But information isn't free." "What do you want?" Goku asked. Jabba spoke, and his words were surprisingly reasonable. "Protection. Once. The Empire will eventually come for me, demanding I reveal your location. When they do, I would like to know that you will remember who fed you well and offered aid." Goku grinned. "That's fair. You're giving me food and help, so if someone attacks you because of me, I'll protect you. Deal." He reached out his hand. Jabba extended his small arm and they shook. The crime lord and the Saiyan, bound by the oldest contract in the galaxy, food for protection. The Imperial superstar destroyer executor cut through space like a dagger aimed at the heart of the rebellion. On the bridge, Darth Vader stood before the massive viewports, his hands clasped behind his back, his breathing the only sound as officers went about their duties in terrified silence. Behind him, holographic displays showed tactical data, fleet movements, and one particular file that had consumed the Empire's attention for the past week. Subject unknown, codename Goku. Lord Vader, Admiral Piet approached cautiously, his footsteps measured. "We've received reports from our agents on Tatooine. The target has been spotted in Jabba's palace." "Of course he has," Vader murmured. The being's predictable unpredictability was almost amusing. Food, fights, and simple needs drove him more than any political ideology. "Prepare a strike team, but Piet." Vader turned, his mask fixing the Admiral with its empty gaze. Ensure they understand this is not a capture mission. This is reconnaissance. We observe, we learn, we do not engage. My lord, the Emperor has commanded. I am aware of the Emperor's commands. Vader's voice carried a dangerous edge. I am also aware that Subject Goku has destroyed our greatest battle station, disabled our most secure reactor core with his bare hands, and shows no fear of Force users. Sending stormtroopers against him is sending them to die pointlessly. Is that what you wish to report to the Emperor? That we wasted lives on foolish pride? Piet paled. No, my lord. I will relay your strategic caution. As Piet retreated, Vader returned his attention to the viewport. Through the Force, he reached out, extending his senses across the vast distance to Tatooine. He couldn't sense Goku directly, that infuriating void where power should register. But he could sense the disturbances around him. Fear, awe, confusion. The ripples of someone whose very existence bent reality in uncomfortable ways. The Emperor wanted Goku captured, studied, potentially turned into a weapon. Vader had different thoughts. His encounter with the Saiyan had sparked something he thought long dead. Curiosity. And perhaps, buried deeper, something else. Hope. No. That was Anakin's weakness. But possibility. The possibility that power could exist without corruption. That strength didn't require darkness. My lord, a communications officer called out. We're receiving a transmission from the surface. It's Jabba the Hutt, my lord. He requests an audience with you. Vader's mask tilted slightly. Jabba calling him directly? Put him through. The hologram flickered to life, showing Jabba's massive bulk lounging on his throne. Beside him, barely visible in the hollow's frame, sat Goku, still eating. Lord Vader, Bib Fortuna translated for Jabba's rumbling Huttis. The mighty Jabba offers you a gift of information. The being you seek is currently his guest. I am aware, Jabba. What do you want? The mighty Jabba wishes to avoid complications. The Empire's target has no interest in conflict. He wishes only to return to his home dimension. Perhaps a peaceful solution benefits all parties? Through the hologram, Goku waved. Oh, hi Vader. Fancy seeing you again. How's the breathing thing working out? Several officers on the bridge stiffened at the casual disrespect. Vader raised a hand, forestalling any outbursts. You ally yourself with criminals now, Goku? Nah, I'm just eating lunch. Jabba makes really good food. Goku held up something that might have been a roasted lizard. You want some? I bet I could teleport it to your ship. That will not be necessary. Vader considered the situation. The Emperor demands your capture. Yeah, I figured. Lots of people seem to want that. Goku's expression turned serious. Look, I don't want to fight your whole empire. That sounds exhausting, and I'm not even from here. Can't we just agree I'll leave everyone alone if everyone leaves me alone? You destroyed the Death Star. By accident. The Emperor does not care about your intentions. You have humiliated the Empire, made us appear weak. That cannot stand. Goku sighed, putting down his food. Okay. Real talk. You seem like a reasonable guy under all that armor. What would it take for your Emperor to just let this go? Nothing short of your death would satisfy him. Well, that's not gonna happen. Goku stood, and even through the hologram, his presence somehow filled the bridge. So, here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna keep looking for a way home. While I'm doing that, I'll stay out of your way as much as possible. But if you guys attack innocent people, or if you try to hurt my new friends, the rebels, Jabba's folks, whoever, then I'm gonna have to step in. Fair? You threaten the Galactic Empire? Vader's voice was silk over Durasteel. I'm just being honest. I don't want trouble, but I won't let people get hurt if I can stop it. Goku's eyes met Vader's through the hologram. You've felt my power. You know what I can do. Let's not make this ugly. Vader was silent for a long moment. Every officer on the bridge held their breath, waiting for their lord's response. Finally, Vader spoke. I will relay your proposal to the Emperor. I suspect he will not accept it. Then I guess we'll see what happens." Goku sat back down and resumed eating. "But hey, if you ever want to spar for real, not the whole trying to capture me thing, let me know. You're strong. I bet you could be way stronger if you trained right." The hologram cut out before Vader could respond. In Jabba's palace, the crime lord was laughing again. "Ho, ho, ho. You bargain with Darth Vader like a merchant haggling over spice prices." "Was that bad?" Goku asked innocently. "Either the bravest thing I've witnessed," Boba Fett said from his position against the wall, "or the stupidest. Time will tell which." On the Executor, Vader stood motionless. Around him, officers whispered nervously, wondering if their lord would order an immediate assault. Instead, Vader turned from the viewport and walked toward his meditation chamber. "Admiral Piet," he said without looking back, "inform the Emperor that Subject Goku has been located on Tatooine. However, I advise against immediate action. Let the target believe he has negotiated safety. Observe his movements, learn his weaknesses. Then, when the Emperor wishes, we strike with precision rather than force." It was a lie, of course. Vader had no intention of helping capture Goku. But the Emperor didn't need to know that yet. For now, Vader would play his role, watch the Saiyan, and contemplate the dangerous thoughts that had been growing since their first encounter. Thoughts about redemption, about power without corruption, about a blue-eyed boy who'd once believed he could save everyone. Thoughts that would have been Anakin's once upon a time. In his meditation chamber, sealed away from censors and spies, Vader allowed himself a moment of vulnerability. He touched his mask, feeling the cold metal that had become his prison. "What are you, Goku?" he whispered to the darkness. "And why do you make me remember the man I used to be?" The Force provided no answers. But somewhere across the galaxy, a Saiyan finished his meal, completely unaware that he'd just planted seeds of doubt in the Empire's darkest enforcer. The Emperor's throne room on Coruscant was designed to inspire fear. Every architectural choice, from the impossibly high ceiling to the yawning pit before the throne, from the blood-red guards stationed like statues, to the cold, recycled air that smelled faintly of ozone, served to remind visitors of their insignificance. Palpatine himself sat enshrouded in shadow, his yellow eyes gleaming with malevolent intelligence as he listened to Vader's report. "So," Palpatine's voice was silk and poison, "this being refuses to bow, refuses capture, makes demands of the Galactic Empire." His gnarled fingers drummed on the throne's armrest. "And you counsel patience, Lord Vader?" "I counsel strategy, my master." Vader stood at attention, his respirator the only sound for a moment. "Subject Goku operates outside the Force. His power is unprecedented. Attacking him with conventional forces will result in catastrophic casualties with no guarantee of success. Yet he destroyed my Death Star with apparently no effort whatsoever." Palpatine's eyes narrowed. "An asset like that could be invaluable, or it could destroy everything we've built. He claims to seek only a way home. And you believe him?" Palpatine's laugh was cruel. "You, who once believed in the Jedi's lies about balance and peace? I sense something in you, my apprentice. Doubt, curiosity, dangerous sentiments." Vader said nothing. Denying it would be pointless. Palpatine could read deception in the Force as easily as breathing. "I will handle this personally," Palpatine decided. "Arrange a meeting. Tell this Goku that the Emperor wishes to speak with him, not as enemies, but as interested parties. He will not come willingly to Coruscant, my master. Then we go to him." Palpatine rose from his throne, his twisted body straightening slightly. "Tatooine, you said? How appropriate. The planet where my greatest weapon was forged, and where perhaps another will be claimed." 3 days later, on Tatooine's scorching surface, an Imperial shuttle descended toward the outskirts of Mos Eisley. No fanfare, no fleet, just one ship carrying the galaxy's most powerful Sith Lord and his apprentice. The subtle approach was intentional. Palpatine wanted Goku to feel safe, comfortable. Prey was easier to catch when it thought itself among friends. Goku sat outside a cantina, enjoying what the locals called blue milk, and watching twin suns set over the desert. He'd spent the past few days helping Jabba with minor issues, breaking up a fight between rival gangs by asking them nicely to stop, which worked surprisingly well when you could bench press a land speeder, rescuing some miners trapped in a cave-in, and accidentally winning a pod racing tournament he'd entered, just for fun. Tatooine was starting to grow on him. Goku! Vader's voice made several nearby patrons scramble away in terror. The Sith Lord emerged from the shadows, cape billowing in the desert wind. The Emperor wishes to meet you. Goku looked up, shielding his eyes from the setting suns. Oh, hey Vader. Your boss actually wants to talk? That's great. Maybe we can work this whole thing out peacefully. Perhaps. Vader gestured toward the shuttle. He awaits. As they walked toward the Imperial ship, Goku chatted casually about his week. The food he'd tried, the pod race he'd won, a really interesting conversation he'd had with a Jawa about moisture farming. Vader listened with a patience that would have shocked any Imperial officer. There was something almost companionable about it, though neither would acknowledge that aloud. The shuttle's interior was Spartan and dark. At its center, Palpatine sat on a makeshift throne, his hood drawn low, his presence a cold weight in the Force. Goku entered and immediately felt it, not through ki sense, but through pure instinct. This person was dangerous, not physically strong like Frieza or Buu, but dangerous in a different way, calculating, cruel, ancient. Ah, the famous Goku. Palpatine's voice dripped false warmth. Come closer, young man. Let me see the being who has caused such chaos in my empire. Goku approached without hesitation, studying the Emperor with open curiosity. You're the boss, huh? You look pretty old. Are you sick? That's a lot of scarring. Vader's respirator hitched slightly, possibly surprise, possibly suppressed horror at the bluntness. Palpatine's smile was a knife edge. Direct. I appreciate that. Yes, I am old. Yes, I bear scars from ancient battles. But age brings wisdom, young Goku. Power, understanding. He leaned forward, his yellow eyes boring into Goku's. I understand you seek a way home. What if I told you I could help? Really? Goku's face lit up. That would be amazing. I miss my family. How would you do it? The Force is vast, its mysteries deep. There are techniques, ancient Sith knowledge, that speak of rifts between dimensions. Tears in reality itself. Palpatine spread his hands in a grandfatherly gesture. But such knowledge requires cooperation. You would need to stay on Coruscant, undergo certain tests. Allow my scientists to study your unique energy signature. Tests? Goku's enthusiasm dimmed slightly. Like what kind of tests? Nothing harmful, I assure you. Merely examinations, observations. We would need to understand your power to properly channel the Force toward opening a dimensional gateway. Palpatine's voice was honey. In exchange, you could explore Coruscant. Perhaps even train with my royal guards. I sense in you a warrior's spirit. Surely you would enjoy testing yourself against the Empire's finest. Goku considered this. It sounded reasonable. Help the Emperor understand his power, get to go home, maybe have some good fights along the way. Win-win, right? But something nagged at him. A feeling. The same feeling he'd gotten from Frieza during their first meeting, when the tyrant had smiled and talked about business arrangements before trying to enslave entire planets. That sounds nice, Goku said carefully, but I'm gonna pass. No offense, but I don't trust you. The temperature in the shuttle seemed to drop 10 degrees. Palpatine's smile never wavered, but his eyes hardened. Trust? An interesting concern from someone who allies with Hutt criminals and rebel terrorists. I don't ally with anyone. I just help people who need help. Goku crossed his arms. And something tells me if I went to your planet, I'd end up in a cage. Or worse. Perceptive, Palpatine purred. More perceptive than I credited. Very well, negotiations are concluded. Lord Vader, restrain him. Vader didn't move. The silence stretched for 3 heartbeats. Lord Vader, Palpatine's voice turned cold. I gave you a command. My master, Vader said slowly. This is unwise. Subject Goku has shown no hostile intent. Attacking him here, without preparation, without support. Are you refusing me? Power crackled around Palpatine's fingertips, blue-white lightning that cast dancing shadows. After all I have given you? After I saved you from death on Mustafar? Goku stepped between them. Hey, old man, maybe let's all calm down before someone does something stupid. Palpatine's response was immediate. Force lightning erupted from his hands, a torrent of pure dark-side energy that had killed Jedi Masters and shattered armies. The electricity slammed into Goku's chest, with enough power to vaporize a normal being. Goku looked down at the lightning crackling across his GI. It stung, like being hit with a strong static shock. Annoying, but not really painful. He brushed at his chest like he was clearing away dust. Okay, that tickled a bit, Goku said. But you really shouldn't. More lightning. Palpatine poured more power into the attack, his face twisting with effort and rage. The shuttle's interior lit up like a supernova. Metal walls began to glow red-hot from the ambient energy. Goku's hair flickered golden for just a moment. Instinct, not intent. His ki flared, creating a protective barrier that shunted the lightning harmlessly into the shuttle's floor. The metal beneath Palpatine's attack melted like wax. Stop it! Goku's voice carried genuine frustration. I don't want to hurt an old guy, even if you are kind of a jerk. Just stop attacking and we can... Palpatine's hand thrust forward, not with lightning but with pure force power. The telekinetic blow could have crushed a tank. It hit Goku square in the chest and... did nothing. The Saiyan stood unmoved, like trying to knock over a mountain with a thrown pebble. For the first time in decades, Emperor Palpatine felt something he'd almost forgotten. Fear. Vader moved before conscious thought, his lightsaber igniting with a snap hiss as he positioned himself between his master and the Saiyan. Not attacking Goku, protecting Palpatine from his own arrogance. The irony wasn't lost on him. Master, Vader said urgently, cease your attack. He is not affected by the Force in any conventional way. You are wasting energy and endangering us both. Palpatine's yellow eyes blazed with fury and calculation. His greatest weapons, Force lightning, telekinesis, mental domination, were proving useless against this orange-clad enigma. Worse, Goku wasn't even fighting back. He stood there looking annoyed, like a parent dealing with a tantruming child. Your Emperor just tried to kill me, Goku said flatly, his earlier friendliness evaporating. After lying about helping me. After trying to trick me into being his prisoner. His fists clenched, and the shuttle's walls groaned as his Kai spiked involuntarily. I've dealt with guys like you before. Frieza, Cell, Majin Buu. Tyrants who think they own everything and everyone. You know what happened to them? Enlighten me, Palpatine hissed, force lightning still crackling around his fingertips. They learned that no matter how strong you think you are, there's always someone stronger. Goku's eyes hardened. I'm trying really hard not to hurt you, because killing people isn't my thing. But if you keep attacking, I'm gonna have to do something about it. You threaten me? In my own empire? Palpatine's rage was magnificent and terrible. He raised both hands, preparing to unleash force destruction that would tear the shuttle apart. Goku moved. One moment, he was standing 5 meters away. The next, his finger was pressed gently against Palpatine's forehead. The Emperor froze, every muscle locked, unable to comprehend the speed of the movement. I could end this right now, Goku said quietly. One tiny push and you're done. But I'm not gonna do that, because I'm not a murderer. So here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna stop hunting me, stop trying to capture me, and leave me alone while I figure out how to get home. In exchange, I won't tell everyone in the galaxy that the all-powerful Emperor couldn't even hurt one guy from another dimension. Palpatine's lips curled in a snarl. You think you can humiliate me and... I think, Goku interrupted, that you should take the deal. Because the alternative is, I start visiting all your Imperial bases, and asking really loudly why they're serving such a mean old guy. And trust me, I can be very persistent. The standoff held for 3 heartbeats. Then Palpatine, with the survival instinct that had kept him alive for decades, smiled coldly and nodded. Very well, a temporary truce, until you depart our galaxy. Great. Goku's demeanor brightened instantly, the threatening warrior vanishing back into the cheerful simpleton. He removed his finger from Palpatine's forehead and stepped back. See? That wasn't so hard. You guys have a good day. He walked to the shuttle's exit ramp, paused, and looked back at Vader. Hey, Vader? You should think about getting a new boss. This one's kinda terrible. Then he was gone. A blur of orange and gold vanishing into Tatooine's evening air. Inside the shuttle, silence reigned. Palpatine's rage was palpable, his power roiling like a caged storm. But beneath it, Vader sensed something else. Uncertainty. Fear. The Emperor had been tested and found wanting, his ultimate power revealed as insufficient against certain threats. My master, Vader began. Be silent. Palpatine's voice was venom. Ready the fleet. Mobilize every available Star Destroyer. If we cannot capture him, we will drive him from our galaxy through sheer, overwhelming force. That will require... I said silent. Lightning crackled again, scoring the shuttle's walls. He has humiliated me. Humiliated us. This will not stand. I want every resource devoted to hunting that Saiyan. Every bounty hunter. Every inquisitor. Every... No. Master. The words left Vader's vocabulary before he could stop them. Palpatine turned slowly, disbelief warring with rage on his twisted features. What did you say? I said no. Vader's breathing was steady, even as he made the most dangerous decision of his life since Mustafar. You will leave Goku alone. You will honor the truce. Have you gone mad? I am your master. I command. You command nothing in this matter. Vader's lightsaber remained lit, though he made no threatening moves. Goku is not our enemy. He has killed no Imperial personnel except in self-defense. He destroyed the Death Star accidentally. He has repeatedly shown mercy when he could have slaughtered thousands, and you just tried to murder him for refusing to become your prisoner. I am rebuilding the Empire, creating order from chaos. Palpatine's voice rose. That being threatens everything. No, Master. We threaten everything. Our cruelty, our pride, our unwillingness to see that ruling through fear has limits. Vader's mask turned toward the exit where Goku had departed. He is everything we are not. Honest, merciful, powerful without corruption, and it terrifies you. Palpatine's face contorted with hatred. You betray me for this fool? This primitive from another dimension? I betray no one. I simply see clearly for the first time in years. Vader deactivated his lightsaber. If you mobilize the fleet against Goku, he will defend himself. Thousands will die. Perhaps tens of thousands. And in the end, he will still be standing, while we will have wasted lives and resources on your wounded pride. Then you leave me no choice. Palpatine's hands rose, lightning building. If you will not serve, you will die. The attack never landed. Vader's hand thrust forward, and for the first time in decades, he used the Force not with hatred, but with clarity. The lightning diverted, grounding harmlessly into the shuttle's deck. Palpatine staggered, shocked by his apprentice's defiance. I am taking command of this situation, Vader said with terrible finality. You will return to Coruscant. I will handle the Goku situation through observation and intelligence, not aggression. And if you attempt to countermand me... He let the threat hang unspoken. Palpatine stared at his apprentice, seeing something he hadn't seen since Mustafar. Will. Independent thought, the ghost of Anakin Skywalker, awakened by a Saiyan's simple honesty. This is not over, Palpatine whispered. But he said nothing more. As the shuttle lifted off, heading back to orbit, Vader stood alone in the cargo bay. Through the viewport, he could see Tatooine's desert stretching endlessly, and somewhere out there, a being who had accidentally shattered the Sith's plans simply by being himself. "Thank you," Vader murmured to the empty air, "for reminding me what I forgot." On the surface, Goku sat on a dune, watching the stars emerge as the twin suns set. He sighed, missing his family, missing Earth, missing home. But he smiled too, because he'd done the right thing. He'd protected people. He'd shown mercy even to enemies. And somewhere in the galaxy, the Rebel Alliance was receiving reports of fractures in the Empire's command structure, of Vader defying the Emperor, of hope sparked by the most unlikely source imaginable. A Saiyan who just wanted to go home but accidentally changed a galaxy in the process. 3 weeks later, in the most unlikely corner of Jabba's palace, Goku sat with an ancient holocron that Bib Fortuna had acquired through contacts Goku didn't want to know about. The device flickered with blue light, projecting symbols and equations that made his head hurt. He'd never been good at this kind of thing. Give him a straightforward fight any day over dimensional mathematics. "Any luck?" Boba Fett asked from the doorway. The bounty hunter had become an unlikely companion, fascinated by this being who defied every rule he'd learned about power and survival. "Maybe?" Goku scratched his head. "This thing says something about convergence points and dimensional frequency resonance. I think if I can match my Kai to the right frequency, I might be able to force open a portal home." "You think?" Fett raised an eyebrow. "That sounds dangerous. Oh, super dangerous. Could tear a hole in space-time. Could trap me between dimensions forever. Could explode." Goku grinned. "But I gotta try. Chi-Chi's probably furious by now." Through the palace's network of informants, word had spread across the galaxy. Goku was attempting to leave. The rebels breathed easier, grateful they'd been spared his accidental assistance in their war. The Empire watched nervously, praying he'd succeed before Palpatine recovered enough to launch another ill-advised campaign. And Vader. Vader meditated in his chamber, contemplating the cracks that had formed in his certainty. The Emperor had stopped speaking to him entirely. That, Vader found, was a mercy. On Tatooine's surface, Goku stood in the open desert, the holocron floating beside him. He closed his eyes, reaching deep into his Kai, searching for that familiar signature. Earth's energy, warm and vibrant and home. For weeks he'd felt nothing, but now, with the holocron's guidance and his own desperate need, he felt something. A flicker. An echo across impossible distances. His ki flared golden, Super Saiyan transformation activating instinctively. Energy poured from him in waves that registered on sensors across the system. The very air screamed with power as he pushed harder, reaching further, tearing at the dimensional fabric with pure force of will. Reality cracked. A portal opened, unstable, flickering, but unmistakably leading somewhere else. Through it, Goku could see blue skies, green earth, home. "I got it!" he shouted in triumph. Then to everyone who'd helped him, Jabba watching from his palace, Fett standing guard, the rebels monitoring from orbit, even Vader meditating light years away. "Thank you, all of you. Sorry about the mess I made." He stepped toward the portal, then paused. One last thing. He raised 2 fingers to his forehead and, pop, vanished and reappeared on the Bridge of the Liberty, where Princess Leia was reviewing tactical reports. "Hi," Goku said cheerfully. "Just wanted to say bye and good luck with your war. Stop the Empire, save people, do the hero thing. You'll figure it out." He gave her a thumbs up. "Oh, and tell Vader he's not as bad as he thinks he is. He just needs better friends." Before Leia could respond, Goku vanished again. Pop, reappeared in Vader's meditation chamber. The Sith Lord didn't even flinch at the intrusion. "I'm leaving," Goku announced. "Thought you should know. Also," he stepped closer, his voice earnest. "You can change. I know you've done bad stuff, but people can always choose to be better. My friend Vegeta's proof of that. So, maybe think about it." Vader was silent for a long moment. Then, perhaps, in another life. "This life works too. You just gotta want it." Goku smiled. "Take care, Vader. Or whatever your real name is." Anakin, Vader whispered, surprising himself. My name was Anakin. Nice to meet you, Anakin. Goku extended his hand. After a heartbeat's hesitation, Vader shook it. Then Goku was gone. Pop. Back in Tatooine's desert, the portal still waiting. He took one last look at the twin suns, the endless sand, the strange galaxy that had been his accidental home. Then he stepped through. The portal collapsed behind him with a sound like thunder. Reality sealed itself. And across the galaxy, beings breathed sighs of relief, contemplated impossible questions, and wondered if they'd dreamed the whole thing. But in the ruins of the Death Star's debris field, technicians would find evidence of impossible impacts. In Imperial records, casualty reports would show thousands saved who should have died. And in Vader's heart, a seed of doubt would grow into something larger, something that might one day lead a broken man back toward the light. All because a Saiyan took a wrong turn and accidentally reminded a galaxy what true strength looked like. Not domination, but mercy. Not fear, but hope. Not power corrupting, but power used to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. Years later, when Luke Skywalker stood before his father on the second Death Star and declared, "I am a Jedi, like my father before me," Vader would remember an orange-clad warrior who'd said similar things about choice and redemption, and he would choose to save his son. Some call it destiny. Some call it the Force. But perhaps, sometimes, the most important changes come from the most unlikely sources. A person who doesn't belong, asking simple questions, showing impossible mercy, and reminding everyone that there's always another choice. The galaxy would never forget the stranger called Goku. And perhaps that was the greatest accident of all. May the Force be with you. More stories await. Vacant.